Alrighty, Nick, it's been a long time coming. You've been in the program for a minute. I think everyone in the group is curious to kind of see the face behind all of the big profit and loss screenshots in the Discord. So, off the bat, I mean, I would say let's start this off. Maybe you could just introduce yourself, who you are, obviously, and then kind of what got you into trading in the first place and what made you pursue this.
For sure, yeah. So, guys, I'm Nick, 24 years old. So, a lot of you may know Everett, who's a coach in the group. And I think you did an interview with him maybe last year, half a year ago. So, me and him were actually roommates in college. We both played basketball, lived together for 2 years in college. And that was kind of my in on how I got into trading. I kind of give it to Ev. He put me on to the university. But before all that, he would come home and he'd always have his charts up. And I'm familiar with the trading financial background. My dad was a stockbroker on Wall Street in the '70s and '80s. Majored in finance. Did some Bitcoin automation trading back in 2021, my freshman year. So I was familiar with like trading and always kind of had the passion of just making money. Kind of not the ideal way, the 9 to 5 sort of way, kind of your own flexibility, entrepreneurship. So I feel like I've always had a passion for trading, just never knew where to get started. And I think it was about 2 years ago in, I would say, November. I'd come home, from school, basketball practice. Everett would have his charts up in the living room, and I'd always ask him, like, hey, man, what are you doing? You trade Bitcoin? Is it like your long term portfolio? Um, and he said he found you in this trading style that I've never really seen before on the internet. You see futures, options, all this, and kind of just the new style of trading intrigued me. And he told me about your free course, and that's where to start because he was still relatively new to it as well. But I think I watched the free course in like 2 days. Good thing I had a bunch of blow off classes my senior semester. So I grinded the free course, still really interested, learned a lot. And by the way, I recommend that to anyone who's interested and wants to get started. It's great. It's probably better than almost all the paid courses out there, just the free one. So I'd highly recommend that. And then soon after, I would say, after basketball season and whatnot, bought the paid course, went through all that really quick, took notes. I'd say that took me about probably a week or so, and then got into paper trading right after that. I would say I paper traded for 3 to 4 months to start off. It was funny. Everett was live trading at that point, so I'd kind of bring my computer out to him in the morning. We'd sit side by side and kind of just learn the way he traded. He's a bigger scalper than taking most chart trades, level two type of trader. So kind of just understanding those basics um, of order flow and reading charts, kind of how I learned from him. And then paper traded 3 to 4 months. I would say at $80 to $100 risk, um, and I would say I was consistently making 5 to 6 grand. Fake money, of course, a month. So I saw the potential and like how there's a lot of big stigma on trading. It's a scam, can't make money from it, and you hear that all over the internet and whatnot, especially from your parents, friends. They always tell you not to get into it. It's gambling, whatever. But I saw the potential, practicing and putting in the effort with the courses and paper trading. And I would say June or July, I don't remember specifically, but joined the full mentorship. It was my first day, and I remember the first day there was a lot of platform issues. It was kind of a suspect time. Do us would think or swim. So I was already hesitant off the bat, being first day in, but I knew the potential, stuck with it, grinded throughout, and I think what really, I would say, first week of August, if you remember, was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of the first kind of. eye-opening experience that I saw with trading. I think I was first couple of days I was like $5 risk, was making $10, $15 there, and at the start I was like, oh my gosh, this is you can make money, looking at charts, clicking buttons just on your own time, as long as you know the style, and it's pretty much a whole education, just like how college is. You have to learn the basics and work your way up from there, and you get more skilled. But yeah, that first week of August, which is where I started seeing actual profits, at $800,000 days, and this was at 80 to $100 risk.
You
So,
said 800,000 or $800?
oh, $800, not 800
I was
to
gonna
a
say
thousand.
best trader of all time.
But yeah, that was really the eye opening potential at that point, and honestly, it kind of just snowballed. Um, upping my risk as you go throughout the months, and about a year in, I've learned so much, and the stigma. I don't see where people say that trading is gambling. Like with our system, and most importantly, risk management is what we harp on the most. This is a profitable way to make a living, and yeah, that's kind of how I just got started with my journey and whatnot.
Awesome. So when you first started live trading,
Yeah.
right? That was the first week of August. So when did you? I think you just answered it, but when did you start like actually seeing, let's say meaningful results? Because you started off with like $5 risk, and then
Hmm.
how did you scale that risk going from August 1st into like the rest of that year, which was last year, and then going into this year? And like when did you start seeing, like you said, you just had that $800 day. When was that? Uh,
That was, I think, first or second week of August,
oh,
and that was
and then you scaled your risk because I know you had experience before that first week of August, so you scaled your risk like quickly when you started trading with real money.
yeah, quicker. So I think watching practicing just level two, seeing how what a good level two looked like. People who don't know what that is, just the order flow that we watch throughout our setups. Kind of that was the biggest learning curve. Um, just being understand how to read level twos. I think that's the biggest part of scalping
Hmm.
in our strategy. But yeah, just getting more comfortable and honestly just stacking green days, whether they're 10 $15 days, staying in the green, or 800 to $1,000 days. Just not staying within your risk, not oversizing, getting too overconfident and whatnot, and just I think consistency, stacking days is what made me have the confidence to just keep building my risk. So I think I went from like 5, 10, $20 risk, and then I think after August I was at 50 to $80 risk, and I stuck with that for a while. At the time, you don't want it to affect your psychology. You want to be comfortable losing that amount of money, and the November, December was good, and I think the start of the year I upped my risk to 150,
Hmm.
and I kind of just want to start it on a new challenge for the year, kind of pushing myself because like you said, what was one of the biggest things I struggled with in my trading? I would say scaling my risk for sure, because just my personality as a person, I'm more conservative. I know you're kind of the same way when it comes to that, but definitely more conservative person than aggressive with some of these setups. But I think that's where I had to push myself in order to, see the exponential results that you talk about that your
Hmm.
students have and whatnot. And so yeah, just kind of just stacking green days, green months. Um, I know that summer or that spring was really good. Summer was a little slower, and then coming up to this year, we've been having some great months, great weeks, and I think my risk now is $300. I will size up occasionally in case we get like an A plus or whatnot, but
Hmm.
I would say yeah, for the people out there, just being consistent, gaining confidence is the best way to scale your risk.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the traders that work with me, they kind of go into real money a little bit sooner, which I actually don't even hate because sometimes it's actually good to start off with really small risk. But I think the fact that you paper traded, you said for
Mm-hmm.
like 3 to 4 months,
3 to 4
really like
months.
set you up because then in the first couple weeks of trading with live money, you mentioned that like you were able to like basically almost immediately start seeing results, which
Yeah.
is, I think really powerful. All right,
And in
perfect.
my opinion, yeah, paper trading is almost harder than real
Yeah,
execution on TOS for whoever's done that. Yeah, orders are lagging. You have to short a different way, but yeah, I think just making it harder when you practice and then come into real time, it definitely helps a lot.
for sure. So, in terms of, I guess that's what everyone wants to know. In terms of the results now, it's been a year. What are we looking at, or kind of what's your now monthly, I guess, goal or result compared to when you first started?
Gotcha. So my first full year of trading was, I think I started small risk in July, so I'll count that. Um, and then year to date from this July, I think around 140,000, 150,000 my first year of trading. And definitely recently, I know you uploaded a YouTube video talking about flow state.
Yeah,
These last, I'd say 3 to 4 months have really probably the best execution wise and just prime trading I've been in. I think I've averaged 19 to 20,000 the last 2 months, and then this month has just been crazy. I think we're creeping up on $40,000 this month. I haven't checked, but I like to look at the end. But
hmm,
definitely seeing some those exponential results that you talk about, kind of that graph. It's linear. You hit a couple road bumps, and then boom, your profits just take off.
that's amazing. Yeah, I think because that's what kind of and almost inspired me to reach out to you because I would see because I see everyone's kind of screenshots that they post, and a lot of people are pretty transparent. And recently, I'm like, your days have just been literally seeing exponential,
Yeah, 100%.
growth. And you mentioned, I mean, 100 and you said 40 or 50K in your first year. That's already off the bat like amazing, like incredible, honestly. But the fact that this month you're already at 40K, we still have another 4 trading days left, and maybe I don't know if we have I don't know if next week, but at least 4 to 5 trading days left. Like if you might hit 50K month, and it just shows that exponential, right? Because like basically this month you're gonna make basically a third of what you made in the last year, which is,
Exactly.
and I always stress to everyone that like you want to put in the work and put in the work. And then maybe your results aren't there yet, but they're going to catch up. It's like, that meme where the guy's like digging and he's right by the diamonds, but then he like stops. It's,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that with trading. I always tell all my students who like maybe in the first couple months or something, like
Yeah.
they feel it, that it's coming, but just hasn't hit yet. It just takes time, right? And for you, I guess it took a year to hit to the point where hitting now 50, 40, 50K months. But like
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, even 1 year to hit a 40, 50K month is such a short amount of time. People want quick results, but I got to commend you for just being really, really consistent because you always posted your results, even when like you weren't having as big of days as you're having now, and you
Sure.
just focused on the process. So I think you're a really good example of a student, and I'm very proud of your success because like as a mentor, like seeing you succeed, like that's why I do what I do. So yeah, I just want to say congrats. And um, I guess another question. You said in terms of scaling your risk, like that was the biggest challenge. So I mean,
Yep.
it kind of sounds like the last probably this month, you're getting bigger size on a lot of things, which kind of now you're obviously as a result making more money. What do you think like specifically? I don't know, pushed you over the edge of like now you're really comfortable getting that size and scaling your risk.
Yeah, honestly, like I said before, just compounding those days, weeks. I think for everyone, they kind of trade, their own type of setups. Everyone has, they like to, whether it's a chart scalp, regular level two scalp, chart trades. Everyone has their kind of niche of trading they gravitate towards mine more. And I think these past couple of months, we've just been getting some incredible level two scalps, and management is another part. Yeah, I think that's just been on point the last 2 to 3 months, and I think that just builds confidence up into the end. And my risk is $300 now, and like I said when I started, I was using $1 to $2 risk, making $5 to $10. Like, oh my gosh, this is real. Like you can do this if you put in the work, put in the time, and like you said, big stigma on trading is to get rich quick, and it's like no one sees. When I went through the free course, did the paid course by you and paper trading 3 to 4 months and starting minimal risk that making not any making, substantial money. And then, fast forward a year and a half, um, not 2 years yet, but just kind of the journey that, I've been on. And, I'm grateful to find you and, for Ev putting me on to this. Definitely life changing for sure. But yeah, scaling your risk, I think it's just, building confidence, trying to find that flow state in your trading, trade the setups that, work for you and that you're good at. And that's what I'd say.
Hmm. All right, awesome. I got a couple questions, a couple more questions. I guess first one, what's your favorite part about the program? Most people say the chat and like the community
Yeah.
part of it. Like I think that's what most people say because we have a lot of fun in there. But I
Yeah.
guess yeah, what's your favorite part about like just being in that group every day?
Yeah, and I would say the chat. We like to joke around and whatnot, but when it comes to setups and everybody's communicating, calling out what they see, and you give great advice when people call out something and it's not the highest quality. Like you hold them to that standard, like your
Hmm.
standard for every student in the mentorship is to be as best as they possibly can, and to take the highest setups that they can. So yeah, the chat's definitely fun. I would say also like this kind of goes with the chat. David, he's one of your coaches.
Hmm.
Um,
Which one,
me,
a
him,
Jaffe or Martin?
both Jaffe, but Martin, we're actually Ev and I are really close with him, and
Hmm.
came to Dallas, where Ev and I are from around the area, and we did a weekend here. We traded, kind of just meeting new people. How people go to work, make friends with coworkers, and they hang out. It's just like meeting someone on the outside world that also does the same thing. And I'm lucky to have a friend, one of my best friends, that trades as well, and just kind of adding more people to your circle who have the same goals, same mindset as you, and it's just fun and to grow with people. I'd say that.
Yeah, for sure. It's like hard. It's almost once you start trading and you have that like mindset, it's like almost hard to relate to people who
Mhm.
don't know anything about it. Like I'm at the point I don't even like talking about it to like people because no one gets it. Like people are gonna be
Yeah,
like, oh well, isn't it risky to go short or isn't it, don't you lose a lot of money? And it's just like I'd rather not even talk about it.
yeah.
So
It's just you don't really get it unless you know what you're doing and have a profitable strategy. But yeah, I totally 100% get that.
all right, last question, I guess. If someone asked you, let's say they were on the fence about, joining the mentorship and kind of going all in on their trading journey and career, and someone's like thinking about making that leap and, going full time potentially into trading, what would you say to that person who's maybe on the fence about like, getting into the mentorship or just actually going all in on this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say do it. I was in a similar scenario, personal experience. Just out of college, my finance degree, did an internship at a top five financial firm, and had a job opportunity with them in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was a really tough decision. I could set myself up that way, but that's not how I kind of envisioned my life. Going to the office, 10, 12 hours a day in that field. I just thought I could do something more with my life. And it was a tough talk between my parents and like whether what I should decide to do. And I took the risk. Right, I'm young. I feel like if you're young and you're able to take a risk, I'd say do it 100% because you never know if it'll change your life. The worst thing that could happen is you fail and you go on, which people in some people's eyes that's bad, but in some it's not. So I took the risk, joined, and this is it's been just life changing is like the only word I can say. In my own apartment, close to my parents now. Just more than I could have dreamed of at this age. So give my props to you. Shout out Ev. I know he'll be watching this for putting me on. And I know we have a deal that I'd buy him a Rolex one day if I was ever profitable. So
Oh, really?
he'll hold me to that one
Dude, I
day.
gotta get in on that deal too. I want a Rolex, bro. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, Everett. I mean, for anyone who's watching, Everett's actually like one of my coaches. He also has a student interview if anyone wants to watch his too. Yeah, it's so good having a friend. You learn faster. So I feel like between me and then like him, he's there with you. Like that's game changing. So yeah, if Everett's watching, what's going on, Everett? And then yeah, I mean that's all my questions, bro. It's been a pleasure having you in the group for this long and seeing you, grow as a trader, I feel like you're not even like close to your potential either because, you're going to continue to scale your risk and your aggressiveness and like, who knows where you're going to be in like another year. So maybe we have to do like a follow-up interview in like a year or something and see where you're at. So,
Absolutely, yeah. And apparently, this environment in your eyes is you've seen some crazy environments. So waiting for that
oh,
that time
yeah,
period where we get an environment
I
in the
know.
market
Like,
like
especially compared, like when I first started during COVID, like that was like, if we had that right now, like people don't under like I
that.
couldn't even really take advantage back then when I started because I just didn't have the skill set yet. But
Yeah, I
like
got
yeah, once that happens, we're all gonna do really really well. So
yeah. Well,
I mean that's all my questions, bro. I appreciate your time. And then yeah, it's been a pleasure having you, dude.
been a pleasure. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Of course.